it's and I said this when Katie left. I said I think he's making a huge mistake. I said, you know how lucky you are to have Hall of Fame teammates, a Hall of Fame culture, and people that are actively rooting for you. I just got done reading 3 rings on the Kobe, Shaq, Phil Jackson, Lakers. Draymond, it was just a shit show, man. It is brutal. I mean, you read it and it's like, this is brutal. When you, and you may be sensitive to talk about this, but when you watch KD now, and he's got some teammates that aren't always there for him, and I think, oh, boy, you left Rodeo Drive of basketball, man. This is the highest end. This is the culture, the brains. Do you look at him now, and what do you see, and what do you think, or do you not care?
I care. I 100% care because that's my brother, and I always want to see him do well, whether that's here, whether that's in Brooklyn, whether he decides he wants to go play for Barcelona next year in EuroLeague. I always want to see him do well because that bond, that relationship, it's always going to go much further than I can play basketball and that he can play basketball. So I always want to see him do well. So I do care. As far as caring if he's on our team or not, I can't care because that's not up to me. That's not up to me from the team standpoint. That's not up to me from Kevin's standpoint. What I will say is when he decided that he was going to leave, I thought it was a mistake. Not that it was not for the reason that everyone else thinks it's a mistake. By the way, I thought it was a mistake because I know Kevin. And what Kevin likes to do in his life, the number one thing in Kevin's life, and that's not the case for most people, including NBA guys, by the way. Like, basketball isn't the most important thing to me in my life. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and act like it is. It's not the most important thing in my life. It is extremely important, but it's not the most important thing in my life. Basketball is 100% the most important thing in Kevin's life. It is the thing that he cares about himself more than anything in the world. And when Kevin was here, the reason I thought Kevin was making a mistake, because I felt like when Kevin was here, what he was allowed to do was to simply just go play basketball, which is what Kevin loves to do. And so it wasn't that he was going to play with Kyrie. It wasn't that, everyone's like, oh, Kyrie isn't there. It wasn't any of that. Or it wasn't like, oh, man, you're winning championships. It was more so for me from a life standpoint because, again, I care about the person. I don't give a damn about the basketball player. He's a great basketball player, but I care about the person. And I just knew what makes him happy in his life is being able to simply go play basketball. And so that's where the mistake was made for me. It's not that he wasn't going to go win because, again, it's not proven that they're still not going to win. It takes time to build these things up. And I know everyone thinks, oh, man, you put this team together and you're supposed to win in 1 or 2 years. And the reality is we all hope that it goes that way. But, look at this Boston Celtics team. For every year for the last 4 years, they've said Jaylen Brown and Jason can't play together, and they figured it out. It takes time to build these things. And so I don't look at their whole thing with the Brooklyn Nets and say that's a failure. Like, I don't know if that's a failure. That's not written. But whether that fails or succeeds, that wasn't the mistake to me. The mistake for me was simply from a life standpoint and what makes you happy. What makes you happy, I know you. You're my brother. What makes you happy is just simply going to play basketball. And so that's where the mistake was made to me. Right. It wasn't about winning championships or anything like that.